Hi, I'm Tiff O'Connell. I'm the principal at O'Connell Law. We found that a lot of our clients are looking for resources after they've done their estate plan so that they can do continued thinking on what it is that is important to them. So this short video is focused on charitable giving. Now, if charitable giving isn't for you, well, then maybe you don't need to watch this webinar. But that said, if charitable giving is important to you, this is just a very short video to kind of give you an idea so you can start talking. So with that, I would like to introduce Jay Kim, who is the executive director with the Foundation for Metrowest, which is the community foundation that's located in Natick, but serves over 33 cities and towns, mostly towns, but a couple of cities in our region, and actually is a wonderful organization in that they really help support local nonprofits in our region. So I asked Jay to come and talk with me so that you'd have some idea when you're starting to think about charitable giving. So with that, Jay, welcome.
Tiff, thank you for having me. It's great to see you and great to be here.
Well, thank you. And thank you so much for taking time for this. So Jay, I'm going to dive right in.
Absolutely.
When people start to do charitable giving, what is the typical thing that you see? Now, this is beyond the foundation, but what you typically see for people when they're doing some charitable giving?
Well, generally speaking, I think people are giving when they're asked, right? It's a friend or a relative. Maybe that a friend or relative has a passion about an organization or an issue, or as we know, there are many things like, bike rides and runs and those types of, fundraising events. And so I think oftentimes it's a sort of a reactive approach, right? You kind of, hey, thank you for asking me, and I'll give you a gift because you're a good friend of mine, or you're my sister, or what have you. So I think oftentimes, and we're busy, right? Everyone's busy in their lives and have a lot going on. So I think that's typically, I think what you see is it's more of a reactive approach to giving.
Got it. And, I know personally that, over time, whether I've done a run in the past, just asking for people to sponsor me, or, people are doing a run or a bike ride and asking for sponsorship. In addition to that, I know in past employment that I've had, sometimes employers will I can remember years ago that there was a big effort for the employees of the company I worked for to donate to the United Way. And so there was kind of like a campaign that happened.
Yeah,
and
sure.
people would make donations to try to get to that level. So with that in mind, though, we're really talking about probably usually smaller dollar charitable giving, whether it's $10 or $50 or $100. It's usually relatively small dollars when that's happening. Is that right?
Yeah. Typically, I think those types of requests are in the smaller, I would say smaller dollar amount, right? In the 50s, 25, 50, 100, that sort of thing. Absolutely.
So knowing that, and as people, start accumulating some assets, people might want to start giving a little bit more. And so, but also having some structure to it. And I know that prior to me meeting the foundation, I really didn't know myself. But I'd love for you to talk about a little bit what someone, if they want to start giving more, because if someone gives, by the way, if someone gives for those causes, whatever it might be, someone asks and someone gives, that's wonderful.
Absolutely.
And we're not saying don't do that.
And that should continue, right? That should be absolutely.
Exactly. So what we're going to focus on for the last couple of minutes of this is really if someone wants to do something maybe a little bit over and beyond that.
Yeah.
And having more of a structure to their giving. And now this video is not going to go into the tax benefits of doing that. And so, by the way, just reach out to our firm. We're happy to talk to you about how the tax benefits work for charitable giving. We never want the tax tail to wag the dog. But that said, yes, there are tax benefits to it. But really, if someone wants to do charitable giving, and it is more than what we were talking about, what should someone be thinking about for that?
Well, I think you talked about community foundations, and that's obviously what the foundation for Metro is. And there are not many other community foundations out there, or similar type entities, philanthropic organizations that can assist and help a donor, be more strategic, or think about how to have a larger impact, right, with their giving. And it's generally speaking great to have a partner who I think understands the community. They know the nonprofits in the region. They understand the needs and challenges that exist in a community. And that is something that many community foundations, including the one that I work for, we do have a pretty good relationship, right, with our nonprofit partners. We definitely understand, what are the needs, what are the challenges that exist. And so we can help a donor, whether it's an individual, a family, or even a business, be more strategic and think through what are some things that they can do if they want to have a larger impact. And I think what a community foundation can help with in particular is to facilitate that conversation, talk through with the donor, what are your interests? What kind of issue do you want to address? What's a passion of yours? Maybe it's hunger relief, or maybe it's something around homelessness, or education, or what have you. I mean, everyone has, their own personal passions and interests. And so what we try to do when we get to work with a donor is to help them understand, okay, let's hone in on what you want to have an impact on. What do you want to do? And then facilitate that conversation to direct and think about, okay, if it's, homelessness, here are some organizations that might be a good fit for what you're thinking about, and where you can have an impact. And so I think it's that sort of expertise that we have as a community foundation, or other philanthropic organizations have, again, to help the donor really be more strategic, and have a larger impact, with every dollar that they're giving.
Great. And I appreciate that. And I think, just as, a short recap for what we've been talking about here is, again, please, give to what feels right to you, give
Absolutely.
the amount, or don't give, whatever feels appropriate for you, do. But I just want those listening into this to just realize that if you are trying to come up with some sort of strategy that works for what you want now as well as into the future, we do want you really thinking about your passions and your interests, and knowing that there are folks out there that can help you think about that. Now, again, as I mentioned, we're here to talk with you about the tax end of things, as well as we can be there as a sounding board for you. But there's also wonderful organizations out there, such as the Foundation for Metrowest, which is there to basically be there to help inform you and be able to help you figure out, what would be appropriate for you now and into the future. So the purpose of this video is, again, just to be a very short introduction to this, just to get you thinking. So Jay and I are going to be putting together a bunch of resources, and we'll give you a link that you'll get separate from this video, but we're going to give you a link to a special landing page that will lead you to different things so that you can start your own journey on this. So we're so excited that you actually listened to this all the way through. Jay, thank you so much for taking time to actually talk with us today about this. Just because charitable giving, I know it's important to me, and I know it's important to a lot of my clients.
Thanks for having me, Tiff.
All right. Thank you, Jay. And thanks everyone for listening.